happy place, Daniel.
Wicked. Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello. Welcome again to the Pedal Shed.
The Pedal Shed.
Yeah.
It's our happy place.
Yeah. We finally got here, I think. Still a few tweaks to make. I'm going
Yeah.
to say that at the beginning of every video, but yeah, we're in. So there we are.
There we go. I've been looking forward to this one. I've always found this a really interesting pedal. So, the Tube Screamer. Actually, this was my first real introduction to pedals. It was a Tube Screamer.
Okay.
I was teaching guitar at this place in Seven Hills in Sydney, and there was a guy there, rocker, Marshall, Les Paul, and he had a Tube Screamer there, and the Marshall was cranked, master volume all the way down, gain all the way up, and then he kicked this Tube Screamer on, and it sounded fantastic. And we'll get there in a bit.
Yeah,
that was my first introduction to the Tube Screamer.
Okay.
And then I heard the Stevie Ray thing. So, yeah, this Tube Screamer, very famously used by Stevie Ray into his plethora of amplifiers. So, the Tube Screamer, what's it all about? It's basically, if we have a listen to just the Super by itself.
Okay. Might knock that reverb down a little bit. Lovely though it is.
So, a classic American voiced amplifier, fat bottom end, lovely chimey top end, scoopy mid.
Crispy on the top there.
Crispy on the top. And what the Tube Screamer does, if we again add in your lovely 808.
Yep.
So we hear that mid-range just punch through.
If you hadn't guessed by now, Strat, Fender amp, Tube Screamer is home for me.
Yeah.
That's the sound that I loved growing up as a kid, mostly because of Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Mm.
I mean, that doesn't sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but that's where it came from for me with Tube Screamers. So it's, for me, that's a very happy place. But a lot of people, you included, it's not such a happy place, is it?
It's not. I've found things that I prefer.
Yeah, it doesn't
The
appeal
Tube
to you
Screamers.
in the same way.
Yeah.
Because of guitar choice and amp choice, which I guess is what we're gonna come on to.
Yeah.
So we won't do a history of the Tube Screamer. If you want to read a brilliant history of the Tube Screamer, go onto Analog Man's site.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic history of Tube Screamers, different chips, all the rest of it. What do you need to know? 808 was essentially the original, using the JRC 4558D chip, most famously, although other chips have been used. TS9 came next.
TS9 came next, and it was basically the same pedal, different output section, different compression, but sounds very similar, but not the same. And then the TS9DX.
10 probably came next, didn't it?
I think if we look at the genealogy of the whole thing.
Yeah, go to Wikipedia and read about Tube Screamers. We don't actually have a 10 here today, but 808.9 is what most people want to talk about, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah, this is the most people will recognise this straight off the bat.
Yeah.
This is the the original. Stevie Ray has used all of them at some point, including the 10.
Cue millions of comments underneath going, actually his favourite one was a 10.
Was it? Okay, so and we also have the Mini.
Yeah, which is only 8p.
Plus tax.
Yeah, these about $5,000 each. That about 8p, isn't it?
You're rounding down.
Yeah, rounding up and down slightly there. No, the Mini's is much more cost effective than the reissue pedals. That actually, my 808 is actually a Keeley modded one.
Yeah.
It doesn't have true bypass, but it's the Keeley modded one.
Yeah, and so what he does to them, it brings the noise floor down on them, tweaks a couple of things, but doesn't alter the fundamental sound of it.
And I have to say, if I have a desert island, when we end up on that desert island with awesome mains power, some Vibroluxes, great Strats, That's my desert island pedal. That's the last pedal I will ever get rid of.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yep. Anyway, I digress.
Okay, so let's go through them. Let's hear them with the Strat first. So,
Yep.
straight away you can hear the difference in the compression in the TS9.
Yeah, I'll just flick onto the neck pickup so you can A/B between those again.
Bottom end in the DX. So you've got 4 different modes in the DX. So this is supposed to be the TS9. Let's see if we can make this sound like this.
Okay. Let's do something different. Let's go. I can tell it's the first video of the day, Dan.
Why is that?
With fingers!
Sounds great.
Sounds nice, yeah.
Lovely. So the DX doesn't have the same mid-range.
Yep. Is that because it's got more bottom end?
Well, no, I've got it in the TS. So this should be
Exactly the same. Yeah.
you know, close-ish. But now if we put the TS Plus in,
Yeah.
so
Loads of extra level, loads of extra bottom end.
yep. And this is the hot setting.
What? Yeah, okay. As a standalone overdrive pedal into a normal amp, you might say that the DX there is easier to live with pedal because it's not doing the job that a lot of people use tube screamers to do.
Absolutely. It's in that mode, it's not a tube screamer.
Yeah, it's an overdrive. It's any other overdrive pedal, isn't it?
With a fixed amount of bottom end.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds good. You know, it's nice.
Did we go into the turbo mode?
Ready?
Turbo.
So I'll go from the TS9 again.
Yeah.
Interesting. The turbo actually reduces the gain.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to the hot mode, it cleans it up.
Less compressed, isn't it?
Less compressed.
Do you think it's taking the clipping away?
I think
Is it
so.
taking the diode clipping away, Daniel?
Let's see if I turn the drive up level up. definitely less compression.
What would be interesting is if you hit that with a man's pickup. Go on then.
It is definitely early.
You can so the Dan's Tele bridge pickup is much beefier than the Strat, and you can hear that it's helping the Tube Screamer push the Super into a bit more submission.
Mm-hmm.
The speakers are starting to break up a little bit more, and it's also pushing the pedal into a bit more gain as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's reacting. The pedals are reacting differently because of that increased fatness, and it's funny enough because this is only 7.6K. I mean, it's not overwhelmed or anything. It's not a loud pickup. It's just the nature of a Telecaster.
Yeah, just the way it puts it out.
Yeah,
Must be something in the frequencies, the upper mids and stuff. That DX mode, the turbo mode?
Yes.
Reminds me more of the comp cut mode in the full drive.
Yes.
Yes. Which, by the way, once we've gone over this basic sort of Tube Screamer intro, we will look at some Tube Screamer alikes and alternatives too.
Definitely. So I just want to show you one thing though. So this is your Tube Screamer. Which is great. This is the Mini. That's yours. That's direct.
Well, I feel so much better having spent all that money on a... no, it was about 10 years ago. Fair play to the Mini.
It is fantastic.
That's very, very, very good. I reckon mine's a little bit chewier in the mid-range.
If you're going to split hairs,
Yeah.
if I had to have one, I'd definitely have yours.
Yeah.
It's a bit cleaner. I like the different dynamic in it.
Yeah.
But because I use a Tube Screamer very rarely,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
for me, it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Can we just try something? So play again. I'm going to turn the gain up to maximum, which you kind of don't really do with Tube Screamers,
No.
but just as a... let's see how much gain is in the Mini and in the 808.
Okay.
Just... Okay, what I wasn't expecting... So one aspect of the Tube Screamer circuit, which is why a lot of people like it, is that it kind of has a mixer in it, and it keeps part of the clean signal as well as the overdriven signal. And what you can hear, and what hopefully you heard very clearly there, was the clarity of some of the notes were coming out, even though there was this kind of distorted bass on which it sits. I wasn't expecting the Mini to do that anywhere near as well.
Right.
And it blooming well does!
It's fantastic.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I mean, just setting it up this morning, and I really didn't expect it to sound that good. But I think
it does sound good.
They've really knocked it out of the park.
Okay, so just before we move on to maybe different amps and some other things you want to think about with Tube Screamers, let's compare the Mini with the 9, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll just do the same. I'll just turn the gain up to max, because that's what we all want. Yeah.
The difference between the TS9 is subtle, but you can hear it compresses differently.
Yeah, especially at that maximum. But that, again, what kind of surprises me is through this rig and using single coils, the clarity of the notes definitely remained.
Yep.
So it's almost like, I mean, I don't know if it is, and you may know this, but whether it's not distorting the lower frequencies as much as it is the higher, or
no, it's just a different percentage of the clean signal going through.
Yeah.
And I think this is why guys who use them with distorted amplifiers really like them,
Yeah.
because you can dial in the amount of compression and gain that you want, but there's always going to be a punch and an attack. So, for example,
shall we move along?
Yeah, I've got the artist, the Hamstead Artist set up, and if you want to just flick me on,
the Hamstead is set to break up a little bit more than the Super. It doesn't have as much headroom in the front end, right?
It's set to break up a lot more than the Super. So this is the Super. This is the Hamstead. Dan's happy place. Right. So.
Right, Fender amp boy.
I'm going to turn the gain back down.
I think I need to have a submissive swig of coffee at this point, Daniel.
Okay. Let me just... So you hear plenty of the note there, but it's got this... we call it a tube screamer because it's supposed to... mimic the way that the tube, it clips symmetrically as opposed to asymmetrically, and so it's very harmonically, the harmonics are things that we like, things that are pleasing to our ears. But because it's got a bit of that note in there, if I do the same thing with the distorted amplifier, so here's the amp by itself, and now I kick in the mini, so
shelving off a bit of bomb end.
Exactly, and this is why guys use them into these compressed amplifiers, because the way the shape is on the Tube Screamer, and it just shelves that bottom end off. So for solos, it's fantastic because it just gives you that shape. You know, if you get the right amount of clarity with the top end of the tone control.
Well, you see them. Fans of heavier music will know this, but I was quite surprised. I went to a tracking session once with a UK metal band called Rise to Remain. A producer called Colin Richardson, who's done loads of really seminal British metal records and some non-British ones. Anyway, so he's got, let me see, it was either a PV 5150 or a Messer rectifier on a Messer rectifier cab, cranked with a Tube Screamer and a noise gate in the front end.
Right.
Tube Screamer to do exactly that, just to push it and to lop off some of that bottom end, so you don't get that crazy, uncontrollable bottom end for when they're mixing. As we discussed in the solo episode,
you know, when it can be fantastic for rhythm sound.
Yeah.
When you just want that little bit more clarity, just to sit something else through the mix, and it's a great way to be dynamic with your sounds. Because it's a great rhythm sound as well, the Tube Screamer. But doing a solo where you want those notes to poke through, awesome.
Yeah, and again, people do use them. I use mine this way after another overdrive pedal. Stick the Tube Screamer after just to lop off some of the bottom and push the mids, which is kind of interesting because I think back to where we started the video, you know, as just a general all-round overdrive pedal, you would probably say there are better choices.
Yes.
But how weird that Texas Blues works awesomely with Fender amps absolutely because shelves off the bottom end, pushes the mid-range.
Yep. Working with that shape, with that American voice shape. Yep.
Particularly with Strats. Works really well in that environment, but also works really well when used on the end of a metal amp to tighten it up.
Yeah.
So you know, right in the middle of the overdrive pedal spectrum there, you want your all-round pedal to do everything. Perhaps not the best choice.
Yeah, definitely.
But as modifiers for these other things and as part of a whole unit, as we keep saying.
Well, so the Klon was born of the Tube Screamer.
Oh, look, there's a Klon.
Oh, hello, Klon. But it has the same shape.
Yeah, because
different dynamic response, but that sort of same shape, and that's how that came about.
That's probably a good point then, isn't it? Because a lot of people will go, "Oh, bloody Klon!" You know, all it is a Tube Screamer. Shall we prove that that's not the case?
Let's prove that's not the case.
I'm going to get some more man's pickups, I think. We'll start with the Strat. This is Dan's guitar, so he should play it really. But I think it would be interesting to hear some humbuckers in a set, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
Oh, and it's in tune.
And it's in tune.
Did they build this? So shall we hear the 808 next to the Klon?
Sure.
Can we do that?
Yep.
Just into the Super, set them up with a similar sort of gain, and let's sort of put that one to bed-ish.
No problem. Here's your 808.
Or not.
Here's your... Similar shape, but just they're a world apart.
Yeah, so the Klon's got way more aggressive upper mids.
Yep. Different dynamic.
Quite a little bit more bass, but not a huge amount. It's much quicker. It doesn't have the compression in the same way. It's quite a different thing.
Yeah.
Quite a different thing.
Now, what I find the Klon is really great at is boosting.
Yeah.
Yep. So if we set up your 808 again. Okay, so here's your 808, and then I'm going to kick the Klon after it as a booster, okay?
You might say that it's not a particularly pleasant sound, but by golly,
you're going to hear every note.
You're going to hear every note of that because it's got that little aggressive upper mid thing just to kick you out through the bass, the cymbals, the bass drum. Yeah.
And that's why so many guys use it as a booster. Fantastic.
So, okay, so that's how Klon differs in sound from a classic Tube Screamer. Should we just do the BD-2, seeing as we're talking about comparisons with classic pedals?
Yep, sure.
So Boss Blues Driver. What we were saying earlier was, you know, maybe you might be of an opinion that Tube Screamer isn't perhaps the best all-round overdrive. BD-2 falls very nicely into that category, doesn't it? It's a brilliant all-round overdrive.
Absolutely
does lots of things really well.
Yeah, just fantastic. This has been a mainstay in my rig for, oh my word, I've had this for about 20 years. I'm 103.
I'm going to say back in your 40s. Yeah.
I've had this a long time.
Such a lame gag.
When they first came out. And then about 10 years ago, I had Mr. Keeley mod it for me.
Yeah.
And didn't really change the sound of it. It just gave me some low noise floor and a little switch on it that lets you cut a little bit of the bottom end. So this is the blues driver into the Super. Massive fat bottom end.
I'll flick onto the neck pickup and then we'll just do it with some humbuckers as well. So
sure, okay.
definitely with Strats, it gives you that mid kick.
The 808.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Gives you, it definitely puts you into a little bit more Stevie territory, I would say, especially with a Fender amp. So we'll just repeat that again. Dan's going to just put some humbuckers into it, and you can hear again with the Super. We'll move on to the Hamstead in a sec.
Okay, so this is the 808. And now with the blues driver. Turn down a little bit. Fat.
Instantly, and displays the differences between the pedals perfectly well.
Yeah.
So hopefully, having got this far, for anyone who doesn't know or doesn't have a Tube Screamer, or maybe have a different kind of, or a clone or something like that, just put some brackets around a Tube Screamer and puts it in a context.
Exactly. That's what a Tube Screamer is all about. It's all about context.
Yeah.
I just want to hear the Les Paul into the Hamstead, and then I want to throw on the little mini Tube Screamer. Okay, Les Paul, Hamstead. It's so good! But, so again, that shelving of that bottom end, it just makes it so easy to play lines.
Yeah.
There's no, nothing gets messy.
Yeah.
As it can do if you've got too much in the bottom end. If I do the same thing with the blues driver, as opposed to even with the faster stuff, it just gives you a little bit more space around the note. It's more defined.
I mean, the BD-2 into a cranked Marshall style amp is still a cool sound, but you do get that, and that's a sound that can work really well if you're going for a bit of chuggy rhythm. But if you want note definition, that's where you start to lose it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay, so there we go. Tube Screamers round 1. Basic differences between 808 TS9 and the TS9DX. We don't have a 10 for all those people that wanted to hear a 10. Maybe we'll do that another day. And in the context of the much more cost-effective Mini.
Man alive. That is so cool.
I didn't think it'd be anywhere near as good as that. I have to say. I don't know why. Complete preconceptions. Gladly proved wrong.
It's half the price of the other ones.
No brainer.
Very cool.
No brainer.
Yeah.
Can we switch both amps on?
Yes. Okay. So.
That's cool sound. Les Paul. And that concludes the case for the defence, my lad.
That's just awesome.
That's a good sound. I didn't expect it to sound quite that good. Clarity, punch.
Just the right amount of compression.
Your eyes are even watering, Dan.
Dude, it was awesome. That's
Right.
not the only part of me that's watering, I gotta be honest.
Okay, there we go. Introduction to Tube Screamers. We'll come on to compare some other Tube Screamer types at another date. Stick in the comments below which ones you'd like to see. There are about 15 million, so we can't do them all. But there are some obvious choices.
Very good. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.